Hello, it's Sherry Truhlar with the charity auction firm Red Apple Auctions, and today I'm going to answer a question that I know you've heard because my team hears it all the time in the silent auction. That question is, how will I know whether or not I won anything in the silent auction? Most oftentimes guests are asking this question because they need to get home to perhaps get a babysitter home, or they have another gala that they need to attend that night, so they're concerned about how they're going to know whether or not they need to stand in line for checkout to pick up their items. Now, the quickest way to let guests know is to use signage. Some organizations, of course, will deliver their purchased merchandise to each guest while those guests are seated at the tables and dining, but for most organizations, they're going to require their guests to pick up the auction items at the end of the evening. Signage is going to save you time. It's easy to let bidders know if they won when you're incorporating signage into your event. Now, signage can be reusable, or it could be just used one single time. If you're using reusable auction signage, it's typically made of a more sturdy material like a chalkboard or a whiteboard that has the bid numbers on it, and they are not erasable. So the winning bid numbers are circled and then erased at the end of the evening, but that sign can be used every year. In contrast, signage that's meant to be used once is typically constructed of something like poster board or foam core. That signage is going to list the winning bid numbers in numerical order. This is going to allow the bidder to quickly scan that list and see whether or not he or she is a winner. You don't need to list the names of the winners, nor do you need to list the items that they won. That information is really unnecessary to the purpose of this bid board. In fact, the only reason a guest's name would be on that bid board is if you are not using bid numbers. And if you're not using bid numbers, that's a conversation we'll have on another day as to why it's more advantageous for you to use bid numbers at your auction. The auction signage should be put in some area that is easily seen by guests. So if you're like many events and you've got a dinner auction that is taking place in a ballroom, you might want to put that signage just outside the doors that everyone will be using to exit from that ballroom to get to the coat check and the pickup area and the cashier. That way guests can easily view the sign as they walk through. You might want to even put a volunteer or two next to the sign to draw attention to it. In fact, just imagine as you would in an airport when the airlines station a representative outside of the jetway to alert all of the offloading passengers of gate changes. That would be the function of those volunteers, just to make sure people see that that's where the bid boards are located. You could also put the signage near the checkout area itself. That's fairly common as well. Make sure you put the sign on an easel so that it's at eye level or even a little above, just so everyone can easily view it and read it. In addition, or perhaps in place of this type of signage, your event can also make use of any audiovisual screens that you might be using at your gala, and you can display the winning bid numbers on the screen. If that's the case, a volunteer will need to create a PowerPoint slide once the high bidders in the silent auction are finalized. They will save that slide to a handy thumb drive and run that into the ballroom for the individual who's handling the AV equipment. That person can easily upload the slide and display it to the crowd, so even while guests are enjoying their meal, they can see whether or not they had a winning bid in the silent auction. For other great ideas, I encourage you to visit our website. That's at redappleauctions.com. We've even got a free gift for you there. It's our annual auction guide. Every year in late December, we pour through our auctions from that year to find out what top 100 items we sold that had record-breaking sales. All of the items in the guide sold for above value, and the guide is a wonderful tool for you to use in your procurement meetings when you're brainstorming about what sorts of items you want to go get to make sure that your auction is a rockin' success and has exciting items for the crowd. So I encourage you to sign up for that when you visit redappleauctions.com. We look forward to learning more about you and your event online.